Hello and welcome to the Growth Mindset Collective here once again with Nikki Hall. Welcome, Nikki. How are you doing?
Hello, welcome. I'm great.
That's awesome. It's nice to see you. And today we have a really exciting topic to talk about. So, welcome everyone to another powerful gathering of the Growth Mindset Collective. I'm honored you're here. And today the theme is closing the gap, a moment for honest reflection and intentional choice making. So, Licky's gonna jump into it as usual, but we're asking a simple but transformative questions today too, and some other things. So stay tuned, and Nikki, take it away. What do you have for us?
Well, in mindset, there's a lot of things going on, and we have a multitude of things that we're trying to accomplish. But what you need to do is know yourself. And then when you are thinking about yourself, thinking about who you are, thinking about how things are for you and your identity and so on, I'm going to give you these gaps that sabotage you, us, every single time. So these are gaps that we need to understand, identify, and close, get rid of, choose not to serve anymore. So pick one or two before the end of the year so that you can elevate yourself to the next standard and what we're going to talk to you about next week. So number one, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to tell you the 10, and then I'll pick a couple just to elaborate on. Number one is the identity gap. Number two is the commitment gap. Number three is the clarity gap. Number four is emotional regularity. Yeah. Next one is energy. Next one is focus. Next one is the skill gap. The next one is self-trust. Then we have the environment gap and the inspired action gap. Inspired action, honestly, is one of my favorites because it takes you from to knowing yourself, feeling okay about it, and learning to take off all the extra debris. Like I'll start with that one. What happens is I was talking on this point this morning. Let's say I say, "Hey, Ava, do you want to go curling?" Ava doesn't know anything. I'm going to assume Ava doesn't know anything about curling, and she's just not there. So she's going to politely say, "No, I'm going to go do something else. You do this, and I'll meet you later, or we'll get together later on during the week." In the answer that Ava gives you, there's no debris, there's no consideration, there's no back walking your thoughts and feelings. There's no political uh, consideration where you have to try and be worried about your answer being the best one and so on and so forth. It's just a clear answer. There's no baggage attached to it. And from when we were kids, when our parents would say, "No, go play with your friends and get along," or fit in, or they say something to encouraging you to get your place with the kids. So there's a lot of consideration that goes in that. And then when you become an adult, that becomes an issue or a manner of being, right, Ava, that you're
Mhm.
very good at, right? You do it every day. But to get to your goal, to get to your true self, you can't be embodying everybody else and all the other considerations. When you were going for your driver's license, and if you had the package to learn how to drive when you were younger, they said, your friends would say, "Hey, let's go. We're going to have a pickup game of volleyball or something." And you would say, "No, I'm going to go do my driver's class, and then I'll see you later." There was no baggage there. There was no consideration. There was no anything there. So it's important that you start practicing staying connected to the vision, acting from a state of it already being done. Like you have to just live in that and just know this is who I am. No, I'm not going to do that. No, thanks. And when you're moving, you get these inner pulls that arise. Um, know and identify your own and not anybody else's. So this is about trusting the next step, even if you can't see or take the next step. Know who you are. So that's a huge, big gap. Um, and if you could practice that without the baggage that we've developed out of consideration, kindness, uh, fitting in, being part of the culture at work, if you could get rid of all that and just get back to your own sensible notions of who you are, they're going to love you right where you are. Right, Ava?
That's right. That's right, Nikki. Very good point. Very good point indeed. And sometimes we forget that, because we tend to go the other way. And like you said, naming all those things, we try to make people happy. We do things even if we don't want to. We don't stay true to ourselves, a number of other things, right?
Yes, absolutely. Another one that I think we might have to take a little inventory on ourselves is the self-trust gap. Um, People don't finish because they don't trust themselves with the follow through, or it's so radical because sometimes when we don't know something, we drop the whole thing. We don't know this little bit of something and we just let it go again and we go back to other old manners of being. Um, so
You
we
kind of
want,
go Yeah,
hmm?
you kind of end up going on a downwards spiral sometimes because when you like Nikki said, you start with maybe not trusting yourself. Then after trusting, it might come doubt or fear, or you start talking to somebody who is maybe an expert talking you even further out of it. So that's why I call it downward spiral. And then before you know it, hey, you're not gonna do that thing you thought you're gonna do because hey, you got every possible thing on the list to tell you, hey, you should just give up right now, right? So
Mhm.
instead, you should go the other way. So
I'm going to tell you a funny story, and it kind of has to do with self-trust. It has to do with making the small promises, keeping them, rebuilding internal credibility, feeling good about things, and not shying away from what Ava just said here. I was married to a professional musician. He, in his lane, had absolute genius, but I was dancing at a party with somebody. So let's say my life partner was here with his genius. I was dancing with somebody who was way up here, like totally accomplished, traveled all the journey that we want to travel and is living and learning to live among that zone. And I was dancing with him and I said, and I said it in this manner. So how do you like working with my husband? Because he's got genius there. Like I didn't say because he's got genius there, but I was referring to that. And, even like a wonderful producer like Ron Howard needs the talents and gifts of the other people to make his vision true, right? So I felt sorry there. I felt no inhibition. I felt no difference between the biggest, most famous person and my husband when it came to this. So we just had a nice conversation and he said, "Oh, it's great because, we did this." And then he just banged it out and we did this. And he knew the words that I was saying. And we talked and had a great time. And then when I went back to my friends, they were laughing at me and said, "I can't believe you said that to that guy who's like 10 times better, who's like the mega star of all things and blah, blah." And I'm thinking, why? Because we get scared and we get feeling lesser than because there's people better than us, and we start developing that self-trust gap, or we start um, feeling like the environment isn't, we're not in that environment, so we kind of sabotage our own environment. But it's important that you hold your own genius, you hold your own intellectual individuality, and you meet the other person, even though they're either crazy better than you, even than you, or less than you. You make no changes to your personal trust. No changes.
Brilliant.
Right? I mean, how many times do we go in the room with somebody who intimidates us and we become lesser than?
Oh yeah, it tends to happen sometimes, like for me, when I was younger, it used to happen a lot more than it does now, but I definitely know the feeling, and it's not a very nice one. And then sometimes it takes you time to recover from such a thing because you put yourself in there, and who's to blame? Nobody but yourself to put yourself in there. That means we don't value ourselves as we are, and we all have something to give. We're all unique in our own way, right? So we have to remember that and let it shine as well.
Absolutely. Um, absolutely. So there's nothing better than or lesser than you when it comes down to who you are. Like your focus is very important. And that's one other thing that is a gap that you might want to look at for the new year. And that's the focus gap. And that's so people try to finish multiple things simultaneously. Um, Scatter guarantees, cause incompletions. The way to close this gap is by choosing one primary target, eliminating competing goals, and giving yourself full attention to do one finished task. Like we want to understand that, and I know us as women, we really like this fact that we are, but multitasking kills momentum. Focus completes things. Right, Ava?
That's right. Focus.
I mean, honestly, as women, I'm sure men are too, because of their positions and so on and so forth. We pride ourselves on the ability to multitask. So, we ignite that, we become part of that, we feel pride in that. But I'll give you another example. One of my multi millionaire bosses, who's very competent in his field, I said, "So, how's it going?" And we were out for lunch, and he looked distracted. And he's like shaking his head. He's got this quietness to him, and he's kind of removed. And I said, "What? Tell me." So he said, "I saw this guy today." He says, "I'm in my office doing the work." He said, "I saw this guy walking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth." And what he was doing is multitasking, and he wasn't really getting to the job at hand. And this guy said it was just sad. It was just tragic watching him.
Mm. Though I must say though, a lot of places nowadays they do believe in multitasking big time. Um, they seem like they think they're gonna get a lot more done, but honestly, how good is the quality of that work is what I gotta ask, right? So, I mean, some
Yes,
things you
yes,
can multitask pretty well, but there's things that should not be multitasked.
yes. Multitasking has its place, but
Yeah.
not in mindset and not in achieving and not in becoming and knowing who you are and moving into it. It fragments you. It causes an incompleteness. It causes uh, a fact that you can't quite get to the end.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. And that's true, Nikki. And one question I can tell you right now for multitasking is ask this question yourself. What is one thing you know in your heart is no longer aligned?
Mhm.
And to be honest with you, can you sit with that question and try to be on the phone, still think about your heart and maybe trying to eat a sandwich at the same time? Well, that is multitasking, but can you really look at your heart and really know what's in there when you're distracted with so many things?
Mhm.
My answer
See,
would
that
be
is a
no.
wonderful question. That is a wonderful vehicle to ask yourself to close any gap that you have here before the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that just proves like Nikki said with mindset, like you really have to sit with things. You cannot be multitasking and trying to get the most out of what you want in life. Things will come, we get distracted. It happens. But when you learn to quiet your mind and really sit with it, you'll get the answers you're looking for. Maybe not
Yes,
now, but maybe not in the instinct, but maybe in a day or two when you learn to really listen. Yeah. In the busyness of this world.
exactly. That takes us into another gap, and that's the energy gap. People try to finish their goals using adrenaline, motivation, hype, all of which wears off. They don't manage their emotional, mental, or physical energy, which is a problem, right, Ava?
Oh, yes, most definitely.
You know, by you can close it by incorporating rest, rhythm, and sustainable effort, by eliminating energy leaks like chaos, drama, emotional fatigue, or you can close it by moving with intention instead of overexertion.
Yep. What else you got for us, Nikki?
Let's try the emotional regulation gap. People quit because they don't know how to handle discomfort, boredom, doubt, emotional drag. Emotional drag is one for me. Oy. Now, you can close it by practicing emotional resilience, learning how to keep moving while feeling uncertain. That's a hard one. And normalizing discomfort as part of forward movement. How many of our mentors, Ava, have said to us, while we're in the class, yeah, I'm uncomfortable right now, or I'm uncomfortable all the time, because they're always growing, they're always challenging themselves, they're always moving forward. So it has become a normal part of the equation in their move forward.
Yeah. And that's true because, nobody was built to knowing everything. You go through life learning a lot of things, and one of them is when we get so wrapped up in this world and bombarded with so much social media, so much news and stuff like that. Sometimes we get it's like you almost give up because it's just like coming this way, coming that way. It's like, you know what, I'll just absorb it all, going back to that child. And then in the midst of everything, you really forget who you are, which is a timeless self. So it's like
Mhm.
kind of going backwards almost. And that's why I like the end of the year, but you can do this anytime to, really sit back and reflect, do the reflection on yourself. What's your awareness at? Where do you need to do some clearing or releasing? There's so much you can do to go back into your true self. Things like that. You gotta recommit and reconnect to yourself. And at the end, there's the biggest one. Are you willing to embody the new you, the new version of you that you want to step into the new year? Or even halfway through the year. It doesn't says it has to be done now, but most of the time people do it now. It became kind of like a tradition, you could say.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. That talks to another gap, and that's the clarity gap. That's where the goal is blurry, undefined, or too vague, or you've just pushed yourself too much. We've been too fragmented all year long. We lost vision of where we want to end. People can't finish what they can't see, and that becomes a problem for them because we thought, oh, in this goal we have to do this. Oh, I didn't know we have to do that. And we lose a certain kind of perspective as we're traveling the goal. So to close that, check yourself and define the goal. Be nice to yourself. Define it so that you can say, oh, I could finish this, or I finished it and I'm ahead. Outline what you think is done and what it actually looks like. Look at it and think, I've done a lot here. I'm going to call this good for today. I forgot who I was with, and I was working with somebody, and every time we were doing something, and we were trying to get done and move forward, she'd say, "Okay, I'm going to call this good. I'm going to call this done," and then we were able to move forward. Because mindset's a huge thing. Like you have to be fair with your achievements and your accomplishments. So name the exact result in measurability, and why not find a line and say, this is a good job for this year. This is a good job. I'm done. Unmistakable terms. What do you think, Ava?
Well, it definitely helps me reflect already on some of the things, and it's like a great reminder too already, because sometimes we're so caught up with everything we're doing, we forget how much we have already done. And sometimes it's not about yeah, if you're talking about money, money's good, you bring in a lot of money, but sometimes even when the money is less that you bring in, but look at the quality and you have done, maybe how many people you've helped. It speaks volume right there too. So it's not just sometimes about numbers. It's how many people you help, you know. How fulfilled do you feel,
Mhm.
and if you didn't get to where you think you got, still be grateful no matter what, because
Absolutely.
some people don't do this much, and and they're still bragging.
Well, that's it. Find what's best for you. Find your identity in this and be fair. Like when we jump in, Ava and I jump into a goal, we don't know what the end looks like. We think we do, but maybe you did accomplish your end after you jumped into it. You've done everything you could, all the things that you've done, all the modifications, all the sweetening of the pot, all the being able to decide, all the knowing what you think you had to do. Maybe you're done. Maybe there isn't a gap.
Yeah, great, great thinking. And there's so much to reflect on this 10-15 minutes we've been talking, especially you, Nikki, doing the great work here. But just that alone, sitting and reviewing, it'll get you thinking, and help you to come up with maybe new goals, maybe some clarity, because everybody's different, right? We all have our own goals, our own things we want to do, but it's important that we do take time.
Absolutely. I think Ava and I'm going to talk for Ava here. I'm going to volunteer her in this one. We think you've done really well this year. We think you've made the achievement. We think you should say, I did a really good job and I am done here and I am ready to start setting myself up for the next steps for the new year. I'm done. I did this. It took me a year and it was hard, or I got veered off, or I ended up where I didn't think I would be, but I'm done. This is a good thing, right? Be fair
Yeah,
to yourself. Find something where you're done and you're good, and let's go from there.
that's right. So, do you have anything else for us, or was that most of the major points you wanted to cover today, Nikki?
I think we've just about covered it all, Ava. The our synergy is so good that we just move simultaneously through the steps together, and we conquer everything. And I just wanted to end that the thought about being having a gap with a good point of completion.
And if you like, I do actually have some questions written out. If you like the PDF copy of that, do reach out to us. We can send that to you. Just mention in the video PDF, and we'll reach out to you. Of course, we offer the phone call, a free phone call session with us, Nikki and myself as well. So if you feel like you need some extra help, you're maybe feeling stuck, or whatever you need, we are here for you. So free session with us, of course. And as we close today, this beautiful session, I want you to remember this: nothing changes until something ends. So releasing is not actually losing, it's making space. Closing the gap isn't about rushing, it's actually about aligning. So, and you have just taken maybe a first powerful step towards the version of what you actually been waiting for. So carry this clarity with you. Let your decisions reflect your true direction, and walk into the new year with the confidence that you are becoming exactly who you are meant to be. So we have one more powerful session this year, so stay tuned, as we will be back probably in a week or two. We will post it on social, one more powerful session to take you into the next year. So hopefully you join us then. Till next time, thank you, Nikki, so much for being here today, and thank you for watching us, and see you next time. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Thanks, guys. Take care.